Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace.
This right here is the brand new DJI Air 3S. Today we're gonna go over everything new on this drone and what makes it the S moniker. And boy do I have a story to tell you guys. I just got back from a trip to Utah with the CRATERR crew, 2 days up in the mountain. Crazy cabin, amazing people, like some of the most talented filmmakers with the craziest camera rigs, and Polaris side-by-sides. The story has to do with the Polaris side-by-sides. Ripping down these like insane dirt roads, climbing to the top of 10,000-foot mountains. But then something happened. And we will get to that whole story, but again, first let's talk about what makes this new drone so special. What makes it an S? It's an S upgrade. It's not like a giant leap forward, but in the most important ways, it's a leap forward. Mainly let's talk about this camera. Because on the Air 3, the two cameras, the 24mm and 70mm, were both 1/1.3 inch sensors, 48 megapixels. These now though, the main camera, 24mm, is a brand new 50 megapixel, 1 inch sensor camera. The 70mm is still a 1/1.3 inch sensor, but it's their new 1/1.3 inch sensor, so still a little better than the old version. But the 1 inch sensor, it is banana. Flying this thing over Utah, it was wild. Like the whole time I'm flying it, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching a movie. I hope that you're watching this on your TV. Like I hope you have the YouTube app queued up on your Apple TV or your smart TV, and you are watching this on like a giant screen right now, because this thing looks like the movies. I don't know how they make a 1 inch sensor look so good, but it does. And even one of the guys on the CRATERR trip that saw this footage was like, I have a commercial coming up next month. Would you want to come fly shots with this thing on my commercial shoot? Which seems, I don't know, to me it seems absurd. Like this is a prosumer drone. But again, like the D-Log M 10-bit footage, it looks that good. And I will link the videos from all the other CRATERR guys that filmed on that trip. The main thing that they were testing out is the new Blackmagic Pixis. That thing is beautiful. Like the footage coming into that are insane. And a bunch of them spliced in my drone footage from the trip with the Pixis. Kofi's video in particular, it looked indistinguishable. Like it went from Pixis to this thing, and it looked perfectly at home. Like again, we'll get to the price, but you can get this thing, the base unit, for $1,000, and you're blending that with Pixis raw footage. Like, what? And I would say on that trip, I primarily flew the 1 inch sensor, the 24mm camera, mainly just because I was flying like big drone shots. Like I was even chasing the cars. I had to be a little bit wider to chase the cars at the speeds that we were going. We were going like 40 and 50 miles an hour, and this thing ripped with us for 30 minutes straight, no problem. I brought it down because the altitude changed and then my height limit was weird and I was getting near the trees. But this thing's top speed is like 47 miles an hour, and it was ripping behind us chasing these ATVs. It looked, again, like it looked like a movie. The whole time I was sitting there watching my screen. I'm in the back seat of one of these cars, by the way, like on the way back. On the way out, I drove the car so that they could film their Pixis stuff. And then on the way home, they drove and I sat in the back seat trying to keep up with us. And this thing had no issues keeping up with these side-by-sides ripping through the mountains. But that 70mm camera, it does look really good. It is that 1/1.3 inch sensor, so it's not going to have as good of low light performance, obviously, as the 1 inch sensor, but it still looks great. Like totally good usable shots coming out of that sensor. And the difference between the two cameras is mainly just the sensor, because the shooting specs are the exact same. In HDR, they can both go up to 4K 60. They can both go up to 4K 120 frames a second with this thing. That's new from the 3 to the 3S. And they're both shooting that 10-bit D-Log M mode and 14 stops of dynamic range. I mean, it's why you can blend this footage with the Pixis so cleanly, is 14 stops of dynamic range out of, again, a prosumer. I mean, it's not consumer, but it's like, it's leaning towards the pro side of the, yeah, it's prosumer. The other big update on here comes right here, and it is a forward-facing LiDAR system. Now, that is going to help this thing with obstacle avoidance, and it's also gonna help with their new return to home feature. So this thing, without satellite, in low lights, like the vision sensors are gonna be struggling, this LiDAR kicks in, and this thing can see obstacles no matter the lighting condition and return to home safely because of that LiDAR up front. We got the forward-facing LiDAR, we have downward infrared TOF sensors. I don't know what TOF means. And then 3 pairs of visual sensors. So 6 visual cameras that are looking around, trying to keep this thing from hitting somebody. Although I will say in sport mode, like to keep up with the side-by-sides, I had to be in sport mode, which is how I was able to fly 47 miles an hour, but there's 0 obstacle avoidance in that mode. The whole time I was flying for like 30 minutes, I'm like chasing these cars down, trying to do like cool side angles. I tried to get super low and then got way too nervous and I just bailed out, so I didn't really get the shot. But there's no obstacle avoidance when you're in sport mode of note. And on here, we still have 45 minutes of flight time with, thankfully, the same battery from the Air 3. So if you currently own an Air 3, you want to add an extra bird, or you just, for some reason, have some of these batteries laying around, it is the same battery from the 3 to the 3S. And then lastly, a big deal on here, of course, is that O4 transmission system, giving us 20 kilometers of video transmission, or 12.43 miles. Now, you pretty much never get that much, but line of sight, like direct line of sight in perfect conditions, you'll get that. Even if you're like 2-3 miles away, technically, you're supposed to be able to see your drone. It's pretty hard to see a drone 3 miles away. But if for some reason you are flying very far away from your controller, you can still have good transmission. Now, the reason that transmission is so important is for situations like when I'm in the back of a Polaris. Now, I'm not getting 12.3 miles, but that, because I have 12.43 miles of range, maybe while I'm inside and I'm surrounded by a metal box, that range drops down to 3 miles, but I'm still able to chase this thing down at no point that I even get like a glitchiness on the screen. Like it was perfectly clear the entire drive, 30 minutes chasing these things down. The guys didn't let up. Like at no point were they like, oh, I'll slow down and let you catch up. I just had to like rip constantly. And it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. Okay, the story that I want to tell you though. Let's go back to the office. We'll go back to the office. I'll check my notes. If there's any other like little details on this drone that I want to tell you about, I'll do it. But yeah, we'll go back to the office so I can tell you how we almost got trapped on top of a mountain with no cell service and no water. It wasn't our best idea. Hey, real quick, it is October, which means it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Condor Blue is donating 100% of the proceeds of all of their pink iJustine cables to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. So if you're watching this during October, head over to condorblue.com, pick up an iJustine cable, and you can help support the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Very, very cool of you. I also wanted to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. Squarespace is your all-in-one website building platform that is incredibly easy to get started, especially with Squarespace's new Blueprint AI. They just take AI, you answer a few very simple questions, and then they help build you out a website for your brand and business. Now, I've been using Squarespace for 11 years as my professional photography portfolio, but it's because it was so simple to get started, and that was before the Blueprint AI. But now I'm launching an e-commerce store on Squarespace, and I'm doing that because of Squarespace's built-in payment system, where I can sell products, I can sell digital products, I can sell ebooks, anything that you want to sell, you can sell on Squarespace. And you can even get your domain through them. That's how all-in-one Squarespace is. You can go on there and get whatever domain you want.com straight through Squarespace. Shoot to the first link in the description, go over to squarespace.com and sign up for a totally free trial. And when you're ready to go live, use code David Manning for 10% off at checkout. Okay, let's get back to talking about this bird. Okay, the Air 3S and the epic story of how that car got not so upright. First, the last couple things I want to tell you just about this drone is the pricing. So if you pick up the drone itself and the RCN3, which is a lot like the RCN2. This is the RCN2, now they have the RCN3. But if you pick up just this drone and this right here, you're looking at $1,099, which again, dude, to be able to get footage like this out of $1,000 drone is bananas. But I don't know, I tell everyone this remote works just fine. Dude, you want the RC2. This thing has the screen on there, so you don't have to put your phone in there. It is stupidly bright. You know, like sometimes your phone, it gets hot and then it dims the screen and you're in bright sunlight and you kind of can't see what you're flying. This will never dim. It is super, super bright. You do kind of want this. And if you do the Fly More combo that comes with 3 batteries, the charger, it also comes with ND filters. That's why the guys were so stoked to put my footage in with their Pixis, is that I was flying the ND filters. So I had like really nice cinematic motion in all my shots because of ND filters. So if you do this with the RC2, you're looking at $15.99. You can also do the RC N3 remote with this guy as a Fly More combo. So basically this right here, that is $13.99, the extra $200 to get the screen. Well worth it. And the last thing I didn't mention while we were out there in the field is this thing now has 42 gigabytes of internal storage in the bird. And boy, do I think all cameras these days, like all cameras, drones or action, whatever they are, they should have internal storage. 42 gigs isn't a ton. I kind of wish they would have just like jammed the micro SD card that I've been flying with is 512 gigabytes and it's teeny tiny. I feel like this should be in every one of my cameras. Every one of my cameras should just have a half a terabyte built in. But I will take what I can get. 42 gigabytes of internal storage is nice to have. And the only other thing I think that this has that the Air 3 didn't have is this now goes to ISO 12,800, whereas the Air 3 went to ISO 6,400. So that's an improvement for low light. Okay, the story. How did we get that Polaris on its side? So all during the day, we're ripping these things down like a dirt road. We've got Kofi in the back of one of them filming with the Pixis out the back. Michael Tobin is in the back of another one filming with, I think also, yeah, the Pixis out the back of his. Brandon Peterson's up front with a red cam. Like there were so many cool cameras on this trip. It was wild. So we did that all during the day. We go back, we have lunch. The host of the Airbnb though was like, hey, there's another way you guys can go. And there's an ATV trail that goes to the top of a 10,000-foot mountain. And we would have done that all together, except that one of the ATVs, the group that was in the ATV in the back, like 10 minutes into the trek up this treacherous trail, they bailed out. They were like, hey, we're gonna go back to the dirt roads. This is way too gnarly. We don't wanna do it. Our ATV, we pushed on. 45 minutes, we climbed up this mountain and we were rewarded with like the most spectacular view that I've seen in a long time. It was beautiful. And of course, having this up there, like it was wild. We stopped, everyone took pictures, everyone got their cameras out. I started flying this thing and a couple of the guys decided, hey, we'll drive the ATV around for you and you'll have something to film while we're all up here. So they start ripping it around a little bit. I'm filming with this thing, they're filming. I did not get like the shot, which is them actually rolling the vehicle. But Connor McGaskill, he nailed it. He got like this amazing shot of it, like bump. It goes, we think it like caught like a rut, like I don't know. It was just a weird spot up there. There's some rocks in the ground that I think maybe they didn't see. It caught the tire. That's what sent it over. Connor caught the entire thing. And then we were stuck.
That didn't go as planned. Crap.
No!
That didn't at all go as planned.
Hey, let's tip it. I mean, do you want me to call?
Crap.
And we thought it was gonna be like super easy, 5 of us. We're like, we'll just push this thing back on its wheels. And it did not turn out to be very easy. Like we couldn't get like the right leverage. Like we tried, guys, like 30, 40 minutes. We were sitting there going, come on, go! And like, by the time it was going, like you're up here and like you're out of leverage, like there's nowhere else to push. And yeah, not that we thought we were gonna be stuck, but we were pretty sure we were gonna be up there a while until ingenious minds came up with the idea to take the winch line that was on the front of the buggy, pull it out like 100 feet, come up, wrap it around the top B pillar, go to the bottom, come out the car, up over the roof, and then down like the bottom, like where the bottom of the car was, like this way. We put 2 guys on this side playing tug of war and 3 of us pushing. So now, once it got to like that critical tip point, there was leverage from the top, and these guys are pulling from like the perfect leverage on top.
Rocking, and it's like really rhythmic. And then we all go, "Ugh!" That's the only chance we got. If it doesn't go, we just got to break and try. Okay. Try to get that rhythm going again. All right. All right, here we go. Here we go! 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 Yes! Go. Yes! 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 Oh my God! Woo! Yeah, baby, we're vertical. Oh. We're horizontal now, I guess. We were vertical. Bend the frame. Hey, turn the camera. We still need it vertical.
And we got it. We flipped it back on its wheels. We were pumped, like we were going nuts, hugging each other. Because by the way, only 3 of the 5 people brought jackets with us. The sun was going down. It was getting cold. We had 1 Gatorade bottle that was half full for the 5 of us. We weren't entirely prepared. We didn't think we were gonna get stuck. So on our wheels, car starts up, no problem. We basically just lost like the mirrors and some pieces of the vehicle. But in general, like we're rolling. We're like, okay, cool. We can get out of here. Did I mention there was no cell service? No cell service, no, our radios, we were way too far. We get out of here. Now we start rolling down the mountain. We get about 10 minutes into the drive down the mountain and I start realizing like, man, this thing is riding really rough. I'm in like the back right seat in this ATV and I'm like, this is such a rougher ride than on the way up. And I don't say anything for a while, like maybe 15, 20-ish minutes. And it's just like feeling worse and worse and worse. And finally I was like, hold on guys, like we gotta stop. Something feels crazy back here. Like maybe the suspension broke or something like that. We hop out. When it rains, it pours. Flat tire. Like it didn't pop at the top of the mountain, like on our way down, just like when it rains, it pours. We also popped a tire and it didn't like pop like, oh, I could just fix that. It like shredded the sidewall of the tire. And since I didn't say anything for like 15, 20 minutes, we already kind of trashed the rims. We knew like we're buying these guys a new rim. Maybe like, I don't know, an hour and a half it took us to get down. Cause now like we're going super slow through this thing. It's totally dark now. Yeah, it was the whole thing. Listen, have you ever heard the phrase, the adventure doesn't begin until something goes wrong? And it's because if we would have gone to the top of the mountain, I would have filmed it, we would have come down, we all would have had a merry time. Like, it would have been a cool day, but it wouldn't have been so memorable. Like, I will never forget that trip. That trip will be burned in my, like, if I see a side-by-side, I'll be like, hey, this one time? And I'll have this story to tell about my friends that rolled an ATV on top of a 10,000 foot mountain. Thank you, CRATERR, for an amazing trip. I'll never forget it. Thank you, DJI, for this insane drone that like I am just so blown away by. And thank you to you for watching the end of this video. If you've made it this far, you're the best. You are the best of the people that watch my videos. I love you. And you should go pick yourself up a pink cable. I mean, everyone needs cables. Might as well have a pink one. And when someone asks about it, be like, bro, breast cancer. Hello, support. Guys can have pink cables. Questions, comments on the drone down below. And I'll see you soon. 3S. And today we're gonna go over everything.
Your tongue does not work yet.
How now, brown cow? Unique New York. Unique New York.